Outliers, those who don't quite fit in the mainstream, who question the social scripts they were handed. Love, the nuclear family, marriage, careers, money, power. In other words, what is it we're here for, alive on this planet? Outliers, those who listen louder to their intuition than to convention, who try on many roles only to find they don't want to be defined by any, who make choices others don't understand and take responsibility for their consequences. Outliers, those who take upon themselves to research new ways of living, who build things from scratch, who gather people around a vision and say, what if we tried? Those who also fail, who keep showing up, who fail better again and again. Some of these outliers, like our guest today, start intentional communities, land-based projects that dream of restoring our relationship to nature, to ourselves, to each other. His name is Andreas, and every week I buy the sourdough bread he bakes at Alma Ohana, the 87 hectares land he's been living and building on for the last 5 years in Alentejo, south of Portugal. He co-founded Alma Ohana with 5 others, and now, as the last man standing, together with his friend Antonia, they're selling the land. I invited Andreas because I'm building a community myself. I wanted to listen to his story, learn why Andreas' dream didn't materialize, what broke, why it broke, and what he would do differently. Together we talk about his roots, how a boy who didn't fit in ended up dedicating his life to building belonging for others. We talk about his experience of gender in his body. We also talk about the stuff of community, the big vision, the core group that didn't hold, the famous building permits, the moment you realize you can't hold it alone anymore. And we end with the question, what to do next when you've poured your whole self into something and it still didn't work?
We need to come back to ourselves. I think it's so important to see that we are all traumatized, that we are all hurt, that we are all in pain. Doesn't matter, everyone. It's not like I've been slapped in my childhood, I've been sexually abused, yeah? There's so much systematic oppression since so many hundreds and even maybe thousands of years in this patriarchal system that we feel now it's time to come back to ourselves. So we have to somehow unpack this as well.
I'm Carlota Getch, and this is the Wiser Now podcast. What experience or joy or pain or grief led you to be on this journey of community, of starting an intentional community, holding that space? What took you here?
That's a very wide question, especially of the joy. And I would say it includes really everything, because then I can actually really go back a bit, if it's okay, to go back to see, because of now, especially when I often go a bit back. So what brought me here, or what brought me in this, where I am now? And if I think back as a child as well, I'm even thinking sometimes now, why have I been so often in this feeling that I'm different? Different in the feeling, not different of, from the ego part, only from the part that I didn't fit in. I just didn't fit in. The village I was brought up was very conservative. Everyone there was looking for, going to be someone at one point. So
you're from a village.
I'm from a village in Germany, exactly. Luckily, came to the village. My parents came from a town, and I'm very grateful for this, that they decided this, because I had a lot of things you can imagine as well, maybe or traumas with my parents, but at the same time, the bigger thing where I'm grateful for is that they choose to go from the town to a very little village. And even the house my father built was at the end of a road and was next to nature, next to an very old castle, which we played in. And so I remember this, that my connection was often more with nature than with people. Very often, when I had difficulties to digest things or when I was upset.
But do you feel that was because you were just more called to nature, or there was also something that didn't make you feel safe in the people around you, the culture?
Yeah, I think it is both. So because I had the possibility to often grow up as a friend's farm, so I had this with being with animals, being in nature. So the call of nature was always there. But I had also situations where I really was in pain and I really didn't feel I could be held. Let's say also when I had really argues with my mom, even when I was little, and we couldn't come to this, that I felt like she can hold me, she can give me the love I was wishing for. So, and then I just went out. Then I had a tree where I was going up to and sitting, and up on the tree were some owls. They were protecting me. That was always so nice. They were looking down to me, and I felt protected. I felt held. I felt loved. So this, I think, was for me the biggest impact where I'm grateful for. That in this way where it's sometimes not easy to find yourself, but nature gave me the protection, gave me the feeling of I belong. And this belonging, I think I could keep. Sometimes I lost it in my past. Also, I went back to the city at one point for studying and doing things and culture, and it was great and also rebellious. But at one point I came back to nature because I realized nature is what I belong to.
So before you were, even in Portugal, what were you doing in your life?
What was I doing in my life? I was supposed from my family or from my upbringing, I was supposed to become an architect.
An architect.
And I realized at one point that's not me. That is not me. And I think maybe because of my father died early. And so in this moment where he wasn't there anymore for this push as well of support on one side, but also big expectation on the other side of who I should be and become and what is important in life.
But because your dad was an architect.
He was an architect. And at the same time, he always he was also a kind of artist, but the artist side he didn't show so much because he was so busy. And he was working for the state, not for himself. And I don't know what it was. In life then realized, at one point I realized I couldn't work for anyone. So at the beginning I studied carpentry. So I was a carpenter. I really like to work with my hands and creative, active with wood. I love this. And
did you build the houses here, the cabins here?
Yeah, part of, yeah. And all my life I was building something. And then I studied for a while a bit, design, but design of landscape design. But I realized that was also too much structure, too much system, I would say. And on my path, I realized this kind of system part, which is I want to break. I want to have more natural flow. So then for a while, I thought I have had the chance. When I was 24, I've been in Canada, in British Columbia, and this opened, a lot in my life to see that looking outside or looking above the edge of the plate, let's say, because before I was quite inside of me and quite in these very narrow feeling of village still and coming out and not being myself. And from this moment on, I realized, wow, the world is big. And especially the nature in British Columbia was so amazing. I had this encounter with wild animals, so that I felt like I have to go back. So for this, I started to work in Germany, studying forestry to get the green card. But then things changed. I grew a bit more up. I went back to the city. I studied then social science and politics and psychology, but also just for a while, just to study also the human being, how do we live together, how we are being together. That was a bit my goal as well, to see when I was studying. It was a time of kind of feeling of revolution. It was when there was a lot happening in the 80s and mid 80s and 80s, where I felt like, wow, I was called for social change and also like being very active.
So what circles were you part of in that time?
In that time,
any movements?
Yes, a lot in the. I was an activist for social change, but also environment. So it was a lot happening in this time about how we are doing, how are we
and where
from. That was in Germany, in a city at this time. Where I actually started to became also very politicized, how you call it? I mean,
political.
Very political. And the political part I loved for a while, because I was not only outside and demonstrating, I also studied. We had groups where we had a men's group. We had a group of, we had about Marxism, Leninism, and looking into how could a system or a society look different, with more freedom, with more. It came more and more this feeling of I want to self-govern within myself, but also with people who are my friends or who I see in villages and towns. That started in the city. That's why we were squatting. We were squatting houses. And
what is squatting houses?
Squatting means
occupying houses.
Occupying houses, seeing like they are just really by conscious, just letting them come down and not using. And there was so much asked for housing, and especially in this city, there were so much young people studying and didn't have place, and didn't have space, and didn't have an apartment, or had to pay a lot. So we saw like, hey, that's a time where it's important to show this as a political act and ask the city, because very often it were houses from the city, to tell them, hey, we are caring and we would like to have a space. And if you give us a space, we will take care of. But that was also not so easy. So at one point, we decided to take it in our hand with a little group. We went completely off in the city, but off to live in trailers. We started to live in trailers in the city. And that was new for the city. So they didn't know how to handle it. And that's why they left us. And then at one point, it was just a way of like, you can't be here. But they actually realized what we are doing is, in a way, understandable. So they gave us finally a place where we could self-govern at least in a part, where we could feel we are living together. Also getting out what I never really became of. I never felt like I want to start a nuclear family.
Okay.
I was more looking for community. Because for me, I think it had to do a bit with seeing how my parents have been with each other, and that I thought there is so much tension and so much not love, or love in a really strange way, where you didn't see the love and connection with them. But then I saw a lot my father in other circumstances in the village. When he was the leader of some clubs, and a music club, and some different clubs where he was so much. He was loved from so many people, and he was open. I could see that he loved the connection in a wider and different way. And so I saw, like, why is it so that on one side you connect to people and you have this openness, and everyone is trying to, especially in the village, to be really more connected and really looking to each other, and with happiness, with playfulness. And coming back to the nuclear family, there's a lot of tension. Yeah, and this is maybe what made me change to say, like, I don't believe in this form of, especially when it came from religion as well, to marry. And then from this moment you're married, it starts at that it's not anymore what you're actually looking for freedom, because then you put yourself into a box, you put the other one, your partner in a box, and both are in the box, and then with the kids, it's like a little box where it's not much freedom. Or that's what I felt. And that, I have to say, still I see, and that's why I think I choose to more and more live in community. That was when I was, I think, 26, 27. I lived the first time in a group of people where we were all individuals. And we had our relationships. We had
and this
our
was
intimacy.
What you were saying in trailers in Germany,
exactly.
in the city.
Yeah, I had a very intimate and relationship with a woman. We had a love affair, but she had her home. I had my home. And that was already much easier. Yeah, that was like this being able to find each other on a different level. And then from this was growing, because at this time still I realized I was young, rebellious, and it's still, we didn't have the tools which I have now as well more.
And what do you feel that back then, maybe even now, that you mentioned this word of your wish of self-governance or sovereignty maybe? What was you mentioned also the nuclear family. What did you feel you were rebelling from? What were the topics in the system that really bothered you? And that's why you really wanted to do it in a different way.
Yeah. I would say I felt, I don't know where it comes from, but from young on, I felt like there is a lot of control. Not only in my family, also from the system, I have felt so controlled and so kind of manipulated, even, that I saw as well when I saw the generation after me, even, where I was happy that I was. Even in my generation, there were already starting gamers, but I wasn't, because I was more out in the nature. Gamers. And I saw it then in the generation after me. I saw so many, especially boys, which more boys than girls as well, but more boys, which even if they live in an environment which is maybe even a village, they could be out. They started not to be so much out anymore. They have been done sports, they have been great in sport, and like body-wise, moving, feeling the body, and suddenly, bam, sitting in front of a screen, getting even fat. And you could see it. You could see the change in so many young people, changing physically because they weren't moving so much anymore. And this is part which I saw, but I saw also that there was not so much from the system, not so much encouragement and support for, let's say, alternative living. It was, it became for a while. It was maybe when it is a fashion, when you can put it into a fashion, yes. But really for life, you had to fight more. You had to really try to really hold your ground. But that made to feel this, to see like this is too much control, too much in a system where everything has paragraphs and everything has to be like this and everything, this is allowed and this is not allowed. Instead of seeing like, especially when you want to and you are committed to life, and I was committed to life. So I was committed to also say like, I'm not
What does committed to life
committed
mean?
to life means that I was looking and interested in to see how life and human beings can live together and be together. I wouldn't say like, I do something to hurt someone, or I do something, or I build a little hut, which someone tells me that is not all right, that you are doing this, but I'm not doing it with an impact to nature, which is harming nature or others. So, and I think when we are aware, and that is maybe what we are also more and more losing, the awareness, when the awareness is growing in people, and I think as more aware we become of ourselves and the others, and that we are interconnected and interbeings, then we care. And when we care, then we can be doing things from ourselves. Let's say we're a group of 10, 20, maybe even 60 or nearly 100 people who say like, hey, we commit to how we want to live, and we can live like this without harming each other and without harming nature. And this way govern ourselves, and going also with whatever happens in these, let's say, with tension, conflicts, we can resolve.
So let's go now to Alma Ohana. When did you move here? How was
Here
that
we
process?
moved in 2021. So it will be in June, it will be 5 years. And the last 2 years were not easy. The first 3 years were like...
And how did you end up here?
How did I end up here? I think at one point I opened myself a bit more to see like, why not to come to a land where you can do more of and have more possibilities, because it's a group of people who steward the land. Before I was always saying like, I don't want to own any land. And I still believe in this more. Now I hope that it change even here into a land trust.
At the moment, who's the owner here?
At the moment, the owner is a cooperative. So we actually, when we started here, we have been 6 people, and had also the idea to say like, it would be good if it's not one owner. That always creates more problems. So let's see that we own the land as a cooperative. So we founded a cooperative, and the cooperative was the owner of the property, but what we haven't really seen, that I think the strength in our group wasn't strong enough to see that the cooperative has to grow as well, to be an entity which can produce something. Because we put it as agriculture as well as housing, but we felt like first we have to bring our commitment to the land and what we have to build up, so that takes time, and then it will come. But there again,
But you mean that let me see if I understand that in some way the cooperative needs to produce services, products to also be financially sustainable?
Yes, exactly. And it can be like as a group, it can be individuals which have their, let's say, me, for instance, I'm also baking. I'm baking bread, I'm baking cakes. I'm in the region here, in our community, but also here in the region, sell my bread to like a health food shop and zero waste shop and neighbors. Exactly. And so this, I thought like, that could be much more in the cooperatives, that it's under the umbrella. I can be myself under the umbrella of the cooperative, and that we couldn't find really so strongly how to do it.
What do you mean? That everybody finds a way to contribute to the cooperative and generate income?
Yes, because we were so much more focused, which I also understood, focused on what doesn't need to be here to invite, because we wanted to finance back the land, because we bought the land was quite expensive, I would say. I think I was at least myself a bit naive, but I believed also more in the younger generation, which were also like, wow, yeah, come on, let's do it. And we had some young people where I felt also like, wow, they are up for the change and for challenges in the new way of life and in a regenerative life. Yeah. So in this way, I thought it will come in the group, that it's easy, that it will be easy, that we refinance the land.
Because you got how did you pay for it initially?
Someone in our group
financed,
had the possibility. I think it was like this Bitcoin thing going on at this time. I didn't have any idea. So like, okay, if you're open for and you made this, great, nice. And so, but we made a loan. So, and I think we made a mistake to see that we made a kind of idea that we thought very easy, very quick. Members come in to live here.
And you'll pay that money back.
Then we can pay the money back in 5 years, or even like, 4 or 5 years. And usually a loan of more than I'll be honest, more than $500,000 is something we should have thought more clearly about, and needs time, and it needs a different way of how you pay back and the time.
I'm curious because I think this happens a lot actually in communities, that there's someone that initially buys the property and is the owner and then is finding a core team, or that there's an investor and then there's this challenge of how to pay that person back. And I'm curious about your perspective, because also I think most communities feel called to live together because they want to embody a new culture. That's the primary reason, not because they want to be a business together. That's secondary to also free themselves from the capitalist system and so on. So if you now maybe not necessarily go back in time in your situation, but going forward, what would you have done differently? Maybe buy smaller land, maybe had planned business cases and be a bit more, or do a plan to get people to live on the land and buy the part?
I think there's several things. And one big part is to more see what is possible. What is possible on the land, and how much does it take to get there, that you can really invite other people, or other people coming in and buy themselves in. For me, it's like I was always I start something and kind of pioneering, let's say. I don't mind when it's because as I was maybe saying before, but that you could see, like I don't play with the system so much. I even see that at the moment, because there is anyway a system change.
What do you mean you don't play with the system so much?
That I don't believe that everything has to be in the legal form, very legal. Because if I see like, okay, there are these laws, but maybe we can stretch them, and maybe we can see that actually also the system sees, hey, actually, hold on, what they're doing is pretty good, is supporting a system on a different way, and maybe gives them the change, even what is necessary. Because, I mean, we see anyway at the moment a big change, and a big change in all over, in all countries, and in governments, and in towns. Yeah, either there is a loss because of what is going on in the world, and the economy is going down, and then suddenly a town hall doesn't has any more money, and they don't know how to deal it. So it's I think, and then with the crisis also with the environmental crisis, which is very hot at the moment, and everyone knows, no one can look away anymore. So I think it's clear that we're coming to a point where people also in charge or in lead at the moment, in power, maybe realizing that it's good to let people govern themselves a bit more. That means also, I believe in that we maybe have more paradigms at one point. And when I'm in a paradigm where I know I do my part, and I do it because I believe in that's my and the truth of the ones who are living it, and we are keeping this truth and staying there and living it, even if it goes against some rules, that it's okay. And that's what I felt even here. I would maybe even, at the beginning I thought, I don't need a big plan and think all has to be legal. Because I knew when we start this, trying to make it legal, in this region...
But why are you mentioning so much the legal? Because of the licenses to build
exactly,
and so on?
Licenses. So, and we know, okay, we want people to come in and we want... and sure, there are lots of people...
You needed the licenses to get people also to come and build their homes here?
That's what we came to. It maybe wouldn't have been if we would have, right from the beginning, using a different path. And a different path of what we put out. But if you're on a path where you want everything legal and you bring this out, people come and say like, till you have this not clear and legal, I wouldn't enter.
So,
and this is understandable, but also that is maybe a showing that everyone is in this fear of, I need this fear of safetyness, but where nowadays is safetyness? And I know, for instance, I say this here now, I don't know if it's good in public, but I know that here, if I'm with nature, in connection with nature, and in connection with a bigger community as well, because that's what I'm looking to. How is the environment here? How we are situated? That I know, okay, if I build a wooden house here or a clay house or whatever, to see in which way I build, where do I build, how safe is this? How safe do I make it? We make it for ourselves and the region. And I know you can do this. Even more safe as often from the system. So that's why I know if you just do it, you would even go away with. Even if they say like, you played against the rules, now you get a fine. Okay, good. It's not what I wish for, but then I know I pay the fine, but then I can go on with my life. And that's a bit how it is here, I realize. And that's what I think we all, doesn't matter where I live, because I also feel like I'm coming from a different country. I'm not Portuguese, and at the beginning, I always wanted to just play with the rules. But it's also, as much as I feel like I connect to the Portuguese people I want to also live with and be in, and they're also seeing that it actually needs a change. And so we are connecting on a level which is, I don't have to obey to a Portuguese system now. No, I be connect to the humans, to the friends, to the brothers and sisters.
And so you mentioned a bit that challenge with the money. At some point in the beginning, you mentioned you were 6 people. What happened to that core group?
Yes.
And do you feel that because I feel that also there's different ways people approach communities. Some people are putting a lot of focus into building a very coherent group that is aligned, vision and all this, the glue, and others that are more open and flowing, also people coming and going. Where were you guys?
You can say both was in. Okay. So we had this core group where we had this trying to find a very common ground. And what I really liked was seeing that we worked a lot was on the social part, on how to be with the land, on the land, but also how we social-wise connecting with each other. How do we, so we had circles, we had a lot when there were not a common ground, to sit in circle, to find consensus, so, and that I think I find really nice, and I would always still go for that. I know it can be open, and I be much more open myself now, that we see we are all different and we all have all different opinions, but how do we find a consensus? And that's possible. Because when we listen to each other and seeing that we actually have a common ground, it's that we are not so different, and that I can yes to say to what you say, and you can say yes to what I say, then it comes to a common ground at one point that we say like, okay, we find a consensus. And
did you feel that as a core group, you had certain principles, values, or things that really were present in that core group, that you are really embodying that or seeking to embody that as a group?
Yes, yes, we had, I think we had some principles. Even at one point we realized we need to maybe also get some principles more written down. But at the same time it was these, we don't need to, because we feel it. But it was really to see very clearly that we don't agree when there is aggressions, when people they are too much in their egos and not respecting each other's boundaries, let's say. That we have a common equal feeling how we see nature and protect nature, and try to see in the future what we can do here and work on to regenerate parts which need regeneration, and parts where we protect what is there and it's already still wild and strong in itself, nature. So we had these where we saw a lot, it's not us here, it's what about all the other beings which are living here. And trying to show this as well to others who come in. We had often our principles were that we started the day with a check-in to see, hey, how are you today? That I can say like, wow, hold on. Breathe and see and feel, how do I feel at the moment? How was my night? How do I feel now? Because then I could, if someone had a bad night or bad start in the day, then you know already, then you can deal with. Or even ask, do you want to share more? Because sometimes it could also just be shown. Can be the pain, the grief, but could be sometimes also someone is showing a dream, explaining a dream. And that was always really nice to hear a dream, which then maybe comes into a field. So things like this, and then we could start the day. Sometimes we then also were saying like who is doing what, and how we are doing projects together, who is in which project, and
so in terms of leadership also, how were you organizing it?
I think we try to not have like an hierarchy. And I think we did quite well in this way. We had our core group of the founders. I think a little bit the founders had like the
six,
the foundation, the six at the beginning, which came sadly very quick to just 4.
Why?
Because
how quick also in time?
How quick? It's said that one who actually also I realize that I do say a lot actually. It's interesting. It's funny. So, yes, the founder who also gave the main loan. And that is maybe also what we should have looked at in the moment he went out. Because when he went out because of, or the feeling was for everyone more, his ex-partner took his son back to where she came from. He was American Belgium. She was, or he is Belgian American, and she is German. And she went back to Berlin and took the son with her. And his big dream was that his son can grow up here. So for him, it was like, hey, he tried for a while and realized, no, I have to be where my son is, or at least more close. At least more close. And I don't know how it went, because there were also not easy times and difficult times how we communicated with each other, and he stepped out. So he stepped completely out of the community, but was still member. So, but he didn't take any more responsibility. And so that was out, and we went on, going on, and then someone else realized, hey, that's not my part, and I'm not ready. So, and then we realized, okay, but that's fine. We are strong enough, and we had a lot of people coming in as volunteers, as supporters, and so we thought, like, hey, it's fine. We did events, and we felt like we are still coherent.
So mainly you were the people, the volunteers were coming to help with the land, with the garden, things like that?
Yeah, but it is, I would say it was a bit different as you often see it with volunteering or like roofing or so. Some people came through the roofing side even, but because we had a community living here, we realized, so you are not out. For a moment, we realized it was needed. So because we have two lands connected to each other, and the one land had already some facilities, that we thought like, it's great that someone is already taking care there, and so the supporters are more, volunteers are there, organizing themselves there and coming to work with us here. So that was sometimes also good and needed in terms of how we can grow clearly as a foundation, as a community. But as well, even then, we always brought them in the feeling of communal life within the check-ins, when we did circles, when we had events. So they were always part. I remember that I would say 99% of the people passed by, sometimes for 2 weeks, sometimes 4 months, sometimes for 3 months, always were saying like, wow, I never experienced something like this, where I feel like, wow, this is really community life. Like I felt integrated, I felt seen, I felt also it's a safe place. That I heard a lot, like a safe place.
So between also that reality, you mentioned that the challenge also was to get people that would come join the project so that you could also pay the other person out. Why do you think this didn't happen? Looking back, what do you feel?
I think so. We put a lot of these social efforts in, and trying to see in this way how we come together and how maybe people can come in. And some people came in, stayed longer, but still didn't say really committed yes and staying. And that was often connected to there is not enough foundation here within maybe the cooperative, but also especially with I don't feel even if I feel safe here as a living part and the land and you as a group, but I don't feel safe as be able to build a house or spend my money, bring my money in, and then not knowing if I can build something. Yeah, and that I think that was a big part. And
in building, because then the idea is that they join the project, so they pay to join the project, and then besides that, if they want a house, they build their own house.
Exactly. So with a membership of the cooperative, you have your share, you pay a share.
Can I ask how much it was?
We asked 20,000 euros. And with this 20,000 euros and 5,000 euros extra, I think it came at one point even I think to 25,000 euros or so. But this is a share, and then 5,000 euros more as a donation to build up more infrastructure for the common. So that's a common part. But at the same time, you have the possibility to choose together a space and place where you can build your house. Either it is for you're single and a tiny house, or up to 40 square meters, or with questioning what you need, what are your needs, and then it can be possible. And then families different. So this was the idea, that then they have the possibility to build their own house, and when they want to leave, that they can leave and get paid back their share, and try to find someone to come in, which
in the house as well.
Who is then exactly someone buys a house, for instance, and comes in and says, "Wow, great! I can immediately come in. I don't have to build a house. I have already a house. I'd be happy to come in, be at this place, pay the share, and pay the house, and have this."
So people who left could get both back the shares and the sell the house to someone else.
Yes. Yeah. So the house selling would be then the individual, the private part. Also, we were saying that it will be in the way how we want to live here, that it's not like, I built a house and now I pay it with making money on it. So it was more like clarity of another member and selling it, but for a fair, always fair, for fair price, not to make not to make money out of it. So that was the idea, and that could have worked. I see it now even a bit different. How it could be.
How different?
Different in a way that I think it's trying maybe to see more clearly neighborhoods where the foundation, the people who create the foundation, on the land, seeing where can we create neighborhoods. I had a lot of talks with Mario, and Mario's ideas with my ideas together. I felt like, maybe I find even the possibility. Who knows? I don't know. At the moment, I want to be out.
You want to be out of the project?
Yes, I want to be out. Because of especially the last 2 years, when it was clear we are selling, we can't hold it anymore. At one point, it was so very sad, because then one very clear, we have still been a core group, but we didn't have enough money. There was not much money anymore in the cooperative because we spent so much money in a plan, in a master plan for the land.
To get the license. Which you got, or
which we even didn't get. We have to bring it back in because, the Kamera here, so in English,
the municipality.
The municipality wants more centralized living. We were more really growing an eco-village. We were working with 2 architects which are also focused on sustainable living. And so they did an amazing plan, but it was a bit more spread, but still in a way of like, okay, but we thought like...
It's interesting because there's so much agricultural land that is used as a monoculture. And such as in a village would probably be better for the land because it's with permaculture thinking.
That is, but that is still not seen because this is still. That's why I think we need this change at the moment as well. I think when the people they who are at the moment in power and in the leadership. And there are some in the municipality who are starting to see looking different. But you can see how hard it is for them even to change things in this, where it's so conservative. Because if this would be changing and to see like, hey, there has to be a regenerative lifestyle. There have to be more diversity. We can't go on with monocultures. We can't go on with this way how we abuse our land and see that it's going down. And all the crisis we have in environment, we can see where it comes from. But still the change, to be open for change, I think to be open for change, each person has to work on their own wounds, let's say, on their own traumas. Because if we see our own traumas and say like, okay, I embrace them, I can see what happened, but I open myself and I see like I can let go and I can focus on a good life. So that's why it, I think, was not so easy.
It was not so easy for the people to commit, you mean?
To commit. And then seeing, like, let's go back to, okay, we have a plan, didn't go through, financial, we were broke. The cooperative was really broke. And because of the plan didn't went through, not legal yet, no, even this building here, which we use at the moment, is a kind of nice type of building, but as a ruin, has to build up, still doesn't has the permits that we can rebuild. So all this needs to go back to the plan. We have to change the plan, and there is a possibility, and we would be kind of say like, hey, come on, then we do it. Let's be a part, which is then the official and more centralized. That would be still okay. And then we do some things, even the ones which I would build some in my house and wouldn't care, let's say, and there are several, they would do the same and say like, hey, it's with the respect, but that would be happening in a way that it's okay. So, but we didn't have the money. So there was no more money, so we couldn't go on. And then another member dropped out. And in this moment because then we, for a moment, thought, hey, come on, how can we still go on? So, and then someone from outside who supported us for quite a while, and he's a founder of lots of cooperatives. Maybe you know George Gonzalez. He's the founder of Minga. Okay. In the north, he's a supporter of. He is actually the main guy in Nativa in São Luís, and so that's why I look also there is more. What is community out instead of just the intentional community here, our community on the land? What about the community we already have around us, which is then also connecting more to the local people? Yeah. Which I feel very strong, especially in São Luís, more than in Utemira. And São Luís, because São Luís is also more a village. And in São Luís, there are a lot of Portuguese younger people who are conscious, who are changing life. And there is so much movement for regenerative life as a whole bigger community. Yeah.
So you were mentioning before also that then you would do it a bit differently, and you started mentioning with neighborhoods, and I didn't understand very well what you meant, but it seems also related to this wider sense of community. Yeah, maybe it came already a bit when we started, when George was saying, why don't you now start that you get at least enough money in for all the running costs for the cooperative, and maybe then build up and see with the loan that you deal with Jeremy, that you still can slowly pay back and maybe make a new agreement. And that we had already more in, that we then were saying co-living. So, and even if it's for a while and then out of the co-living, which is co-living but still kind of community, because we have here the common space, we can use a bit together and come together for events maybe, but everyone has their own space, which I like even, because sometimes it's even too much if it's too close. So what's the difference?
The difference is like, so everyone has a responsibility for their own part where they are living. For where there's the houses, where the ground they use, the space they use. And so in this case also we say like, okay, in this case it's much better that we also take off the community space and only open when people are asking that they want to use the space. But otherwise, it's the one who are stewarding still here, and
that they use more the communal spaces.
But otherwise, they use their space. So everyone has their space and is taking care of their space, and then you can come together, visit visit each other, and see what you would like, and then make projects as well. For instance, a garden. If you rent your place. At the same time, okay, I do something nicely anyway around my house. As Mario, you can see, he came and already started. He needs this, and it's amazing what he's immediately doing. So he has his little garden around, but at the same time, he is happy to be in the main garden. So the main garden it's a common garden where then people come in and do things together, and then we have once a month a meeting with everyone, also from the co-living. Everyone comes together, and then we can share what could we do better, or are there questions, are there ideas? So that I would do in the future more. And why
do you feel like in your go
why I wasn't working this way, or is happening now, but not anymore with agreement, with a plan. Was paying back, because when it was all settled, one more member stepped out in this moment. And in this moment where one member stepped out, and we had other people living with us and very in the core as well, but they also say, like, we can't commit the next 2 years, I can't commit. So what was left from the group were 2 people, me, myself, and Antonia, who is even 1 year older than me. So I'm in 6 weeks, I will be 62. She's 63 then. We are 2 days different. So we were the ones who were the elders, but also more grounded, and we were doing a lot on the land. And but then we realized we can't hold this on our own. Yeah. We couldn't hold. And that's why we said, like, okay, this is not possible anymore. And in more from 24, mid-24, end 24, beginning of 25, we realized we want to sell. And
recently you ate something you shouldn't have eaten and had a near-death experience. You see how much you feel comfortable to share, but I'm curious how you're making sense of also the why that happened, also with the stage you're in your life.
That's a good question. Actually, it's okay to ask. It's not still not easy for me to go in, because, like you say, at one point I feel I'm back to my old me. At the same time, there are moments where I feel like, wow, I'm still alive. You wouldn't believe if sometimes it comes in moments where you wouldn't think of.
So maybe can you just quickly explain what happened?
Yeah, maybe exactly. Maybe I go there. Strangely, I would say in a way I was in this moment not so aware, not so conscious of doing. I'm someone also who's always open to tests, and I have to experience the things myself. And there is a kind of inner intuition that usually it's okay. I was with a friend working on the path. It's not our entrance is not the easiest at the moment. So we were working on the path, and got at the end of the day already. And then a friend also from here came along and said, like, look at this. I found this. I have this root here. What is this? And I said, like, let me see. I think I know this. And I was smelling it, so like, yeah, it smells really good. And I said, yes, it smells really good. It reminds me. I think I know it. And it's true. It's a family of the wild carrot. Maybe you know the wild carrot with a white flower. The wild carrot, when I see it as a plant, and I didn't pick the root, because when I see the whole plant with a flower, the wild carrot I know, because it has in the flower a black dot in the center. That is And the flower itself is also a bit different. But the root is similar, but also when you would see it clearly, there's also different. So when you see the whole root from this plant, it's also called what? Dead man's finger?
Dead man's finger?
Man's finger. It has these kind of three little, it could be even looking a bit like a phallus when you see the... So, and this plant, it's called hemlock water dropwort, and is one of the most poisonous plant on our planet. It's known that Socrates was poisoned by this plant and died. 70% of the people who took this plant died.
70%?
70% of the people, yeah. And I don't know what I needed there still. I'm still in the process of, because I needed nearly a full month to recover. I just realized, did I ask for this? Is there anything in me? Was there anything in me with what I was blind of? Because I had moments as well now with you. Yeah, what is happening in the world? It sometimes broke my heart. I have friends which are Palestinian friends as well, and I sometimes thought, like, how do you manage to go on, like, and they are still positive as well. They are still strong, and it's like, wow, I'm overwhelmed sometimes, and I'm so angry with how did we became as human beings that we can be so cruel that it, in my opinion, is not even any more human. Yeah, so was this a part in me that felt so strong that I maybe would say, like, hey, life is, I don't want to be here anymore? But the thing is, when it started, and I think I took it as well and said, like, I'm anyway at the moment hungry and undersugared, so let's try it. And it was delicious. It was very tasty, sweetish. And then I went on. We went on working a bit. Then it was nearly end of the day. We drove up. And coming here, I suddenly felt bad. But it even didn't come to me that it was from this. So like, I think I'm so overworked and undersugared still. I'm feeling like, a bit like this, yeah. When you and then, I think I even want to vomit. I wanted to vomit. I even put my fingers in. I couldn't vomit. So the poison even wanted to stay in. And then it went very quick at one point. But I realized something is going on which is not okay. What is happening with me? And I felt it's really strong. And then it came at one point, it's a plant. But I was fighting. Because I realized I want to live. And my friends were saying, you were fighting, Andreas. We have never seen someone like you so strong. And it was, again, Mother Nature, I would say. Because I was, even when we drove to the Center Saud first, and then later I was going to hospital, I said, stop. I need to get out of the car. I threw myself on the ground, hold it with all what I had onto Mother Earth on the ground, breathing strongly, holding on for a moment, till I at least were a bit conscious. Back in the car, again out. I was unconscious for a moment even. I get a seizure. I bit nearly my tongue off. And that's what I took from there now, which I think will maybe stay. My tip of the tongue. I don't have any feeling anymore. It's like even this not nice feeling because I bit it nearly off. And it's the poison is going on the central nervous system. So they had to open my jaw and there was just blood and all this. And there were part I didn't even remember. So yeah, I would say to everyone, don't do this. Even if I was so connected to nature, I know a lot, but taking a root which is given to you from someone else and you don't know exactly or the whole part, I don't know. I still have to work it out more.
And how did you feel? I'm curious because you had this very extreme experience, and also, did you feel supported by the people around you?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, really supported of everyone who was here. And then in this moment, I still, before I was completely unconscious, I asked for Antonia because she is the one I trust most and I know since nearly 20 years. So I asked for her to be there, but as well, everyone else was there. Marco, Ariel, Dor, someone who I just met, a friend of Ariel and Mayan, who came from Israel for a while to get out as well and trying to see if he also comes back to live here. In Portugal, at least, he, right from the moment I met him, I felt like what a soul, what a lovely soul. And I trusted him so much, even that I don't know him so much, but he was on my side all the time. And he was really there for me and I could feel him. I could hear him and then Antonia, that's like was the strongest. I felt like, wow, it's so, and I felt so grateful for this support. It's also like, that's also again community and not being on your own, not being alone.
So maybe the question I have now, because also, you are here for some years now and have many decades of also experimenting and living in community. And I'm also representing the youth, the new generation that is also building community. What would be some of your suggestions, invitations, advice, words of wisdom of how to approach this journey, this adventure, maybe with a bit more consciousness, wisdom, awareness,
especially awareness. I would really recommend everyone, and I really like this. I like this, even what you're doing, even that we are sitting here now. I'm so grateful for, and that's what I see as well, and that gives me hope with everything we see. And maybe it's if you go in percentage, much more, but I see so many young people as you and so many people, they want to have a change. And I think that will be maybe more and more because of what there's so much happening at the moment. So, and in this, I would say, one thing I would say, stay creative, stay open. I think we all should share that we need to work on the individual part of trauma, even deeper in trauma-informed work, and especially then to share. Because even if I do my work, which is needed for myself, with myself, I can only change and live a different life and an alternative life, a better life with others and in peace and with nature and all beings when I connect and when I share and do the process of collective healing. So that's why I would always say, look for collective healing. Do your own work, but look for collective and being collective, living collective, and that I would say in a collective living space, which doesn't need to be so tight, but that you can share, that you have the possibility to share. It can be also groups sometimes coming together, which when you have a co-living, you have, everyone has their space, or also nuclear, and there's a family, but this family is integrated in a bigger tribe, let's say. That already, that okay, I need my family, I need my nuclear, fine. But then knowing, okay, but to feel safe and also, being able to share and evolve is in the bigger community. So therefore, I would say, that everyone stays really open for this, looking for differences, looking for self-governance together with others.
Did you feel
do peace work?
Did you feel, because I feel that a lot of people say that they're open and that they are on a path of healing, but actually when there's conflicts and the moment of confrontation with that choice of, the group or your ego or your deeper self, do you feel in your process that you had to let something die, like something collapse? What do you, looking back, what do you feel that you maybe, how you engaged with it, that maybe others that left didn't so much?
What means other who left?
The ones that gave up on the dream, right?
Gave up on the dreams.
Yeah, so related also to the trauma that you're saying and the spiritual path and so on. In your internal world, did you feel that throughout these years you had to let something in you change, die, collapse?
Yes, I think yes and no. It's more like that when the awareness is there, and even me, I still know. Wow, I'm so much from when I look back. I don't regret anything in my life, and I feel like, wow, I was always a bit different, and I was always connected to everyone and looked for justice. Yeah, and I remember that for me, color wasn't a problem or anything, never. But I come from a white. Perspective of white living, how it's
white, you said?
Yeah. White in the form of imperial capitalist system. That's where I grew up. That's, I can't deny. So that's what I have to look at as well. But that was maybe what was good, that I could, one big part of it, let go already when I was young enough. But still, I know there are so many patterns coming from this. They are there. So, but instead of completely, and even some parts maybe not aware of still, but being open to be challenged, also always from others. And that's why I think also important to be in different generations, being together, living together.
What were the ones that you could spot in yourself that it's creeping in, it's playing here, the conditioning?
The conditioning.
In you.
In me, when it comes to conditioning, I felt it was for me more the system and a bit surely in my family, where I felt like I, for a long time, really not seen and controlled. So in this moment, so there is this, but then I was looking to others. So I remember when it's in this conservative village and nothing happened, and I felt like, where to go, what to do, and just arguing with my mother, and we were just fighting. There was no love. At one point, suddenly in this world of everyone is there were some artists, some creative people. They made music. They invited me. I did courses with them. I played music with them. I had my first joint with them, and I would say even with my first joint, the world opened. Sees when it's used as a medicine, and realize, oh wow, my consciousness, my awareness opens. And so this part was strongly, and then later and still now, I look to and see to people where I feel, and I think I always had a good feeling, who is more authentic. And who is just, and you have this a lot now in this world, especially in the spiritual.
The New Age community.
World. And I think it's very important somehow, I see, that we need this spiritual part in community and spiritual awareness and connection. But there is this part of ego and disconnected, being somewhere off or thinking of, I see this, or I'm there, or look, but it's not, it doesn't have any foundation.
Can you explain better? I think I feel you, but can you explain a bit better?
That is sometimes these, that I had this, often that I feel people when they say like, I have the answer. And I see like, a little example maybe, for instance. I remember once a woman came, saw my horses, and there was one horse I took care of, beautiful, big Lusitano horse. And this woman passed by and said like, I'm an animal healer. I'm an animal communicator. Spiritual, I have the connection. I can talk to animals. Oh, wow. Amazing. Yeah, somehow when you have these give like, can I, she said. Yes, sure. And there was no connection at all. I could feel it. This horse was completely ill and had like, it had kind of really was, at one point it died on this. And she didn't see this. She said like, this beautiful horse, and it just tells me it has to do a lot with the flies. It is annoyed by the flies and so on. And I thought like, wow, this is exactly an example of spirituality where you're not grounded. You're not really connecting on a grounded level to feel the animal, to really be with that animal, make a connection and see what is really happening there. Just your ego is there. And this you see on so many levels in the spiritual world, that people have suddenly a book of answers saying like, buy my book, have this, and very much ego. And at the moment it is, there are some big leaders which have been out there for a long time and have been so much followers, so much books. And some of them, I realized when they came across my path, I didn't read the book. And I was thinking now, okay, maybe that was I already smelled. Maybe this already I sense that it is not real, that it's not okay, that there is behind too much ego. And you do find this. You do find this in all the communities. Yeah. And especially in ashrams, especially and I was just recently in a beautiful meeting with people who were actually it was about the architecture of, the architecture of silence in the spiritual realm. So in the spiritual world, why is this? Why and this is changing at the moment as well, and that was changing there. One of the person which I follow since a while, maybe you know, Tara Brach. She is a spiritual leader. She is a meditative. She does meditations. She does podcasts where she really guides people. And she was telling of her past, where she was as a young woman. In an ashram, and where for years she lived there and felt like there is something here I want to, and she tried to put her finger on and say like what she feels, and she was silenced. She was silenced by people, and that happens a lot in these circles as well, because you have often one guru, and there was this one guru. And this one guru, and he has so many, and she was saying it was amazing. There were gifts, but there was also the side where she felt, and she had herself were intimidated by him really strongly, openly in front of the whole group, and she felt so intimidated, and no one was really supporting her. I think one or two persons there, and she was sharing this, what it then made with her, and that I see at the moment. It's in so many places happening that we often think, this is right, and there's the right person. It's talking the truth, everything is fine, and underlaying the truth, which is also happening, which some feel, some don't want to see, and then we are silencing either ourselves or others.
Yeah, and I resonate, and also we talk about this a lot in the group, because I think it's also the conditioning of patriarchy. And I think also it's related to how we relate to power, because actually at least the culture I grew up in, there's the leaders and the followers. And the moment someone asserts themselves as leader, actually there is a comfort in just being a follower. And I was reading an article about community, and it was saying that actually that the idea of designing community is a bit artificial, because actually community is what we naturally do and are. So it's just about how do we all step into sovereignty. Because if we are in our authority, then we will hold the group, the village, whatever it is. And it was speaking a bit about how when some groups fail is because someone is taking all the responsibility, but it's not only the fault of that person, but it's also all the other people that are not stepping into their power. So what I sense also of how I'm living this calling is that I also heard this idea a few times here in Alentejo, that the next Messiah is a group, actually. Messiah complexes aside, I feel that this is the next step of communities, of it being really distributed, the leadership. And it doesn't mean that it's equal, because if you have expertise, then you should lead that part. But I feel that is the way that feels right to me.
Yes, that's and I like this, and I like that you go in there, and maybe we could go a little bit even in this, what it needs also there for change to make this possible. And you were mentioned already before, our patriarchal, and also imperial capital system, and still also very much in the way of the colonizer. Yes. That's what I was saying. Sorry, because colonizers are still going on. And it's all based on the patriarchal system and on power. So what I feel at the moment is we need this trauma healing in this way of looking at what was wrong. But at the same time, as we look at, we already have to change. And one big thing I think we have to change is, or especially me as well, and as men we have to change, is coming out of the patriarchal system.
So let me ask, because I think also these are very big words. And just to have a sense, what does it mean to you? Like, what do you associate?
Exactly, and that's what I want to say, because they are words, and then coming to what does it make? And for me, it always made this, that I felt like, why I'm not fitting into this all, and that's why I was happy when there was this gender discussion also in the 80s, where we started to see, because I felt often myself not clear of why am I think if I would be now again being 30, let's say, it would be easier. It would be much easier for me to say yes, I am
non-binary.
I'm non-binary. Exactly. And I'm queer. And I do say this now, but at the time I felt this but couldn't say this. I just felt like I didn't fit in. There were situations where it went for me that I felt like I do have both genders, and I would like to live them. And I felt sometimes like not as a man in my body is not right, not a woman. I was like, and I know, okay, but I'm born as a man, and I had to accept this and see this and also see this, but that the main part, what made me, was a culture. So the culture was much more, indoctrinated in me as me myself, who I felt I was and I am now. And I think as more that I feel like this, in me, that I felt like, okay, I want to be as I am, I want to be me. And I am queer, and I do wear a lot of skirts, and from even how I show myself, and I do want to freely do this and be happy to do this and see like I feel like this, and in my environment, I'm not criticized for who I am, and I think more and more men also see this, that it's time that we start to feel this, that we can feel both sides, that we can also soften ourselves and come to this moment. I would like to be there more and more. I'm not easy in grieving. I'm not easy. I have to find moments to even push myself because I feel grief in me. Grief is there, but it is hard to bring it out sometimes. Or not sometimes, most of the time. And that is also part of, I would say, patriarchal system which brought me to this. And to work on this with men together, also with women together, but also with men together, to see this, that we have to let go of our culture, really letting go. And that means really we have to work on it. It's not only the individual, we have to let go a lot and heal a lot, because it's so strong in us, that this is why we have like a world how it is. And that's why I think if we come into leadership, where also maybe the men who are the new men, let's say, step in their non-binary feeling, and then saying maybe, let's step back. And that you and the women again step forward. And hopefully also forward with this healing part of, because for a long time, I would say, especially from the 60s onwards, with a push of liberation of sexuality at one part, but as well of seeing that there is so much men controlling again, and that then women started to say like, okay, now we have to step up. But then so many women started to become like, I have to take my part here in the society as a man. I step into the same leadership. So, and we see quite a lot of women in leadership now. Yes. They are hard. They take men, they are in manpower. And that's not what I mean. That's not what I think you guess. It's more like, where is a female leadership, which could be even in matriarchal part, but from the wisdom of freedom, peace, nourishing, seeing the connection, which I think man has to come even much stronger to, that we are all connected to nature. We speak so much at the moment also, we speak so much about us, and often leave out, also in war and so on, we leave out and speak about, we need prayers. It's amazing. And I believe in this. Strong prayers where we, every week or every day, maybe conscious come together everywhere around the world. And there is a call out, several calls out at the moment. What I see in these calls often is like, we have to pray for us, for the human being, for the human, and leaving out nature. Leaving out animals, trees, all rocks, earth, all beings which actually we came from and belong to. And this is often still seen like it's far away from us, because we did exploit it for so long. And that's what I feel more and more like, that's why I often come back to, let's share this. At least in my circle, with my friends, and see like, let's have our hands within the earth. Let's be with animals. Let's be in contact with the wild animals even. communicate with them in a feeling of like, I feel you are there, and you can be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that we can be in contact, and that there is no fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that coming out of this, I'm afraid of nature. So many people living in cities, they are so afraid of Mother Earth and Mother Nature. And that is what I hope really seeing, and this is why I think so important when young people like you also starting to live in nature, back in nature, with others together.
Yeah, what came to me, two things because of and then we wrap up also.
Yeah.
Or we begin wrapping up, that because we had a circle last night and we were talking about this, also the relationship to the lands. And because when you said praying, you're praying for human beings and we're not praying, in a way, actually, nature will be fine without us. So actually, the praying is that we return to the awareness that we are it, because it's separated. So I feel that, this focus always on the human being, but in the end it's to pray that the human being remembers that it is it, and it's and then to the point of to the conversation about the leadership and the female, the feminine, masculine. I feel that actually it's a topic that is very alive, because on one hand I see the non-binary movement, and on the other hand I see conservative values that were rescued by New Age, and actually they're repackaged as like womb wisdom and these like roles, but that they also integrate more open-mindedness, and there is some wisdom in recognizing that because of your biology and your hormones, it will have a certain impact, but then it's also too simplified. Yeah, and I feel that the question, for sure I'm asking myself that question, what would it mean? Because I don't want to lead like a man, or like I see that certain men have led in ways that's what I describe as patriarchal, that are more violent and power over. That's not what I want to embody. So I'm holding the question of what it means to, what is the conscious feminine way of leading? And at the same time, I feel that this is very divisive too, because I feel it's about how can we all integrate different energies inside of ourselves, and actually calling it masculine and feminine is not serving us. And so how can we create a culture that we raise our children and ourselves within a culture that is open, wide enough that we can, experience certain energies and understand that hormones will play a role, and other people, and we can also be more fluid within that. Because I feel that actually what we want is integrated men, integrated women, so that we can move past this duality.
Exactly. Yeah. Because then it would be, at one point, it would be an integrated being, a being, coming to this being. And that's why, like you're asking this, I think it's especially that we need to come back to ourselves. So, because coming back to this, I think it's so important to see that we are all traumatized, that we are all hurt, that we are all in pain. Doesn't matter, everyone. It's not like, I've been slapped in my childhood, I've been sexually abused, There's so much systematic oppression since so many hundreds and even maybe thousands of years in this patriarchal system, that we feel now it's time to come back to ourselves. So we have to somehow unpack this as well. And unpacking means also sometimes easy, like saying like, okay, there is so much happening, but it doesn't matter to just dig always just in the past and not living in the here and now. Surely we have to be in here and now, but to feel this at least, to see it, what was that? Wow, this doesn't serve me anymore and serve us anymore. So, and then if I feel it in myself and can share it with others and can speak about, it was so hard to speak about this. It was so hard for so many, especially women, about their abuse, let's say, about their experience in the system. Till now, very, very hard to speak about. And now it's starting. I hear more and more women who are not think, because often it is like hard to speak about because you're judged. You're often like immediately, and that's why you protect yourself. But now in our circles, and in to see that it, coming out of it, I see more and more, and I feel like we are encouraging each other as well more, that we speak about, hey, this happened to me. And because this happened to me, at this moment I can speak it out, it's already healing. And because then it's healing and I share, then we can go further. And then it's also seeing like, okay, we are coming back to ourselves. We are supporting each other on the path of healing and on the path of freedom and peace. Like you're saying, because then it's at one point, man, woman, it's not anymore relevant.
So to come back a bit now to you and close, can be also with the energy of this last conversation. How or where are you feeling called now in the present moments of your life to live with more wisdom, Andreas?
Yeah, Carlotta, that is really good also to write, because I'm myself, I would say, through everything happened, like especially also my just last experience with the poison, knowing, okay, I have still giving another life. So this is, I really, be grateful for. And that also brings me to this, wow, what, and honestly, before this, I am in a strong transformational process, because this is like everyone who went off here had already their own life, or family, or house, or wherever they are. At the moment, I would say, especially me and Antonia, we don't have a place yet because we are still here. I'm still living here. So beside this, that I have to, my personal transformation of what is life calling me for, and then also where do I live now? What is, because I'm pretty sure I want, 100% sure I would say, I will live in community. I want to live in community. I want to live with others together. Can be a bit different as before, but I want to live and share with others, because I beside my my animals around me as well, which are close to me, I never had kids. I never married, but I believe really into this community life, sharing and caring for each other. And so I have a few close friends, and maybe there is something happening out of this for life. So this I want to see now for this year, how I change my living, that I'm happy, that I know that gives a release, a bit of a release of not knowing and being in the air.
The situation also here at Alma Ohana.
Exactly. That is changing here, and knowing that it becomes, maybe it's not clear yet, but maybe sold to someone where anyway, it's completely different, or maybe I be out for a while and maybe seeing like, oh wow, there's something happening here which maybe suits me as well. But at the moment it feels more like, because it is so not anymore what it was, and because we're selling, I want to have a clear ending also for myself here, get my share out as well, find where I can be, where I can situate myself. And then also what I feel called a lot is being in service. I feel like I want to be more in service as I was already here a lot. I'm also, I do a lot for bees. I love bee caring. I love plants. I love the garden. I often, the years here, I often was so much occupied and taken from, especially working on infrastructure and everything and everywhere called, that I had often not the time for the things I really want to have more time for, which is also being more in the garden, being a bit more creative again, going into philosophical parts with others. I like this. Yeah. I will very soon show a movie here, which I have seen already, a documentary called The Eternal Song.
Okay.
And to show this and then talk about what people think and feel about this. It's an amazing documentary. I can really recommend. And things like this. And to see that I have space and place for this, and being in service for Mother Earth, for Mother Nature, to see maybe coming at one point when I have more let go here and all still there's kind of stress in my body, I would say, from the last 2 years as well. Sometimes also like feeling really, it was a lot on me, that I then have more space to really see like what is this main part, what is the main part where I'm called. Sometimes I feel like I could immediately go. I was for a moment thinking, should I go on the flotilla as well to Cuba? Yeah, that was for a moment a call. But I thought like, I can't go now. I have to first finish this year. But parts like this, yeah. Is there any project in Gaza, on the West Bank, where I can be in service? For others as well, for the ones which really need our support also and are not seen. But mainly, I think it's more that my feeling is that in the environment and Mother Earth, and especially Mother Nature, who I would see how can I be in service for. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, and thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure.
Nice.
Andreas is a farmer, carpenter, and community founder. To learn more about his work, you can check out the links in the description of this episode. Wiser Now is a project that you can find more about and contribute to at wisernow.org, where I regularly share essays and updates that accompany the podcast. Our theme music was composed by Carlos Sierra, and the sound of this episode was edited by Ariel Saponar. If you like this episode, please consider sharing it with someone you think might appreciate it. That's the easiest way to support us and to ensure this project's growth and blossoming. Thank you for being here, and talk to you soon.